Hello class, welcome back. Today's learning goal is I can understand subtraction of rational numbers as adding the additive inverse. P minus Q equals P plus negative Q. So the additive inverse is simply the opposite of number. For example, the opposite of negative 3 is 3. The opposite of negative 5 is 5. The opposite of 7 is negative 7. And the opposite of 10 is negative 10. So let's get started. Today's lesson is called Addition and Subtraction of Negative Numbers. Before we begin that, consider this sentence. I do not have a bottle of water on my desk. My question for you guys is, do I have a bottle of water on my desk? Well, what we're doing here is called a double negative. We have two negative words right next to each other. I do not have a bottle of water on my desk. This not gets rid of or negates the first not. So actually what's actually going on here is I do have a water bottle on my desk because this first not gets rid of, the second not gets rid of the first not. So here's the water bottle I was drinking earlier this morning. So a second negative gets rid of the first negative. So this expression right here, 45 minus negative 6. This is like saying that I am not, this negative right here on the second number is indicating that I am not subtracting. In fact, I'm doing the opposite of subtracting. The opposite of subtracting is adding. So what we're really doing is 45 plus 6. And 45 plus 6, if we were to do that on the number line, we start here. We move over 6 spaces to 51. And we do the jump right here. So 45 minus negative 6 is actually the same thing as 45 plus 6 because we are not subtracting. We are not subtracting. This gets rid of this subtraction and turns it into a positive. Conversely, if we were to do this one, this is 45 plus negative 6. Again, in the second number, we take a look at it, it's a negative number. And this negative number says that we are not adding. That means we are doing the opposite of adding, which is subtraction. So we're doing 45 minus 6. And 45 minus 6, we start right here. We move back 6 spaces to 39. So 45 plus negative 6 is the same thing as 45 minus 6 because we are not, this negative sign in the second number tells us we are not adding, which means we are subtracting. This one, we start at negative 15. Negative 15. So we have negative 15. Our second number is negative 4, and we're adding these two. But this negative 4 means that we are not actually adding. We are actually going to be subtracting 4. This is the same thing as negative 15 minus 4. Now some students have a hard time when they start off with a negative number. Remember, if we're subtracting a positive number, like we are right here, 4 is positive, that means we're going to be getting more negative. So, we're going to be going to the left 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is negative 19. Again, we take a look at the second number. And this negative tells us that we are actually not adding, but subtracting. Take a look at this one. Are we going to be adding or subtracting. What does this negative tell us right here by the 4? What does this tell us? This tells us that we're not doing whatever operation is before it. The operation before it is a minus sign, so we are not subtracting. We're going to be adding 4. So again, from negative 15, we're going to be moving 4 spaces to the right this time, because we are, because we are getting closer to 0, becoming more positive. That means we're getting less negative. Okay. I want you to pause the video and try this question out on your own. So this negative right here tells us that we are not going to be adding. If we're not going to be adding, that means we're going to be subtracting. So negative 11 minus 2. This minus 2 tells us that we're going to become more negative. More negative. That means we're going to be heading left on a number line. Heading left on a number line. So we're going to head back left twice, which means that we're going to have negative 13 as our final answer. I want you to try this problem out. So pause the video at this point and try this problem out. Again, we have another negative number right here as our second number. And we have a negative number for our third number. So we're going to do these one at a time. This negative 2 tells us we are not adding 2, we are subtracting 2. So we're doing 41 minus 2. Next we have this negative 22. This negative part tells us we are not subtracting, but we're going to be adding 22. So in order of operations, we do the first two numbers first. 41 minus 2 is 39. And then we do 39 plus 22, which gets us 61. At this point, you can stop the video and try out the summary form on Google Classroom. Have a great weekend.